Zoe here, welcome back to my channel, and this is episode 9 in my Much Madness for Mind series. Oh my goodness me, can you believe we are 9 in already? It seems to be going very, very quick. Today I am working with the Felicity Jane London kit, which was their February kit. I had to think then, it was February's kit. I'm also working with a cut file that I bought from the Silhouette Studio. I believe it's a Dear Lizzie one. I think so. I'm pretty sure it is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to back this directly onto just the plain pink that paper that came in the kit. It's one of the plain cardstock options, so I've cut out my gluing there because it took me about 10 minutes. It took forever. So this is a picture of my daughter loving on my bump when I was pregnant. It's a very precious photo to me, this one. So yeah, it's a nice one to scrap, sort of. So I'm backing it onto white because I think it will help the photo to pop. Even though there's quite a lot of white with the cut file in the background, I still think the white's going to help it pop. And I'm not doing lots of layers with paper. I'm using a lot of these scraps and a lot of the branding strips. I can hear my dog snorting behind me, which is putting me off. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm using a lot of these branding strips because I love the Felicity Jane branding strips. They're just incredibly useful, and I really appreciate any company that gives me a full length branding strip design. I loathe and detest those ones where it's just, you know, like a third of the page, a third of the strip. Like, what can I do with this? I can't do anything with it. Give me a full one, come on. Anywho, rant aside, I'm just going through my selection of branding strips and a few of the file type cut aparts from I think they were from the subscriber printable. They may have been in the main printable, but something tells me they were in the subscriber printable. And also some of the other branding strips I have, and some little strips I have from another piece I did. Those grid pieces are left over from the Brad's Throwback Thursday. I think that was on, well, it was clearly on Thursday, but it will have been last week. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the layout I used those on. So I'm going through the papers now, and again I'm picking out this yellow just because it's so bright and happy, and I feel like it needs something else to help lift it off such a busy design. Although it's quite plainly coloured, the background with the cut file, it's very busy, and it would lead your eye to rove a little bit if you're not careful to make sure your photograph is the central point. I find it hard to not just focus in on the photograph if a design is very, very busy in the background. But as long as you make the photograph the focal point with some nice pops of colour or some elements that make it pop or stand aside, I'm going to say pop again because apparently I just like saying pop. Yeah, if you help to lift it off the design with your embellishments, even it can really help. So you can see I'm just going through the papers again just to see if there's anything else I want to pop behind there, and there isn't. Oh gosh, I said pop again. Somebody stop me from saying that, seriously. So I'm going to add some foam to the back of this because I know I want it to lift off my my design. You thought I was going to say pop again there, didn't you? And I'm just going to use the back of my nail to ruffle up the edges of these various layers again, just to give the illusion of more depth than there actually is, and to help lift the design and give us a really fun texture. So these file tabs came in with the cut parts, so I'm just going ahead and adding some of these around and using them as a point of interest more than anything. I'm not necessarily going to stamp on them. I don't feel the need to fill them in. Maybe I will afterwards at a later date perhaps, but for now I'm quite content just to keep them as nice points of interest around my photo, and it all adds to that sort of really heavily layered feel that I'm trying to go for here to help the photo be more the focal point than the design behind. I love that tag. I wanted to use it, but it was not going to work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some of these tags down, just so I can actually use the bottom end of them rather than wasting the bottom end with it just being in the layers. I figure I might as well cut them, and then I can use the others for punching or for layering or for die cutting or whatever. It just gives you just a little bit more versatility. So I'm going to go ahead and add some twine to these tags and just start layering them in and around my photo, and making sure to scuff the edges up just a little bit to add a little bit of texture and life to them. I'm going to add in another tag there, am I? Oh no, I'm going to add it up at the top instead. I wasn't sure where I was going to put that then. Again, just adding some twine. I like to make sure that I add twine. A, because it adds in another texture which I really enjoy. B, because they feel empty without twine to me. They feel unfinished, like an untied bow. I don't know. I cannot. If there is a tag, I have to put twine in it. I know many crafters who are fine with tags being empty, but alas, not I. I'm just seeing if I want to use some of the washi, but it's such a bold colour, and it's not going to work for me. I am going to add some black elements into this design, but not with the washi because it's just too too bold. I think I need hints of black rather than a great big, how would you describe it? A great big, I don't know. It feels like a big arrow saying, I'm black, right here. Which isn't particularly what I want. What on earth am I saying? I am saying things that make me sound completely insane. So I apologise for that. You can see I have used the alphas in the kit and added them to my Thickers alignment guide. The E is off centre because when I pulled it off the packaging it came without its stick, so I'm going to have to glue that one into place. I'm just adding some tape to these chipboard elements and struggling to get the tape back off, as you do, or as I do anyway. I don't know why I can never peel these backings off, but my tweezers do the job, so it's fine. It's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and add the alpha in, and you can see just gluing them in a little bit there because they've lost their stick a little bit. Oh, I'm throwing that one around. That E did not want to stick anywhere, did it? Goodness me. So now I'm going to go ahead and trim down the twine so that it fits on the page. Sometimes I like to curl the twine and add in a staple to keep a nice loop in it, but I'm quite good with them being sort of just stuck out randomly. So I've done a little bit of journaling, just three strips of journaling there that I'm running through my Xyron sticker maker because it's the easiest way of adding glue to them. And I'm going to go ahead and add these in now. And it's just a little bit of journaling about how precious this moment was and how loved, so yes. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I know I want to add something to the top and the bottom. It feels like my photo is floating a little bit, so I am going to add something to the top of the bottom, but I'm I'm still thinking about what I want to add at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and add these beautiful enamelled hearts, and I want to add in a third because I don't necessarily like doing twos or couples of things. I like to do them in threes, but the third just did not work at all, so I'm actually going to replace that third element with something else. And I'm going to add in this beautiful black bow that came in the cutter parts, and this is going to be one of my black elements. So I know that I need to add in more black onto this, otherwise it's going to look a bit disjointed and a bit unbalanced. So I'm going to add it into the opposite corner just for balance with the label sticker there, and then I'm going to add in a black heart from my, look, see, I'm trying with that washi again. I am going to add in a black heart from my stash, but I've gone ahead and found some strips from the two of the papers in the kit, and I've gone ahead and cut those branding strips off. I have stitched them to the layout, and I'm just going ahead and scuffing up the edges to give it a bit of interest, and that to me really gives my photo a little bit of grounding in the centre. Well, it's not quite the centre, it's sort of that upper 2/3 of the layout. It gives it a nice bit of grounding, so I know that I need to add in a third black element here, so I'm just going to grab a black puffy sticker from my stash, and that's it. This layout done. I really enjoyed making this one. It didn't take very long at all, but it looks like it took longer than it did, which I always enjoy in a layout. And yeah, this one means quite a lot to us, so it's a nice one to have done and have in the album. So don't forget to leave me a thumbs up if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll be back tomorrow with the next video. See you then, bye!